Hello everyone, it's M4J here and welcome back to the OpenTTD tutorials. Last time out we were looking at station building, eye candy, platform layouts, interchanges, metro stations, all that kind of thing. And in doing so we rebuilt Brentwood here from what was a fairly basic station. And one of the reasons I left Guardston at this end here was to show you what Brentwood used to look like. Imagine this but turned sideways. And then if we come down here to the new Brentwood, it just looks that little bit prettier. I think you'll agree. So this is Brentwood. Down here at CADtown is CADtown TMD. And that's where we're going to be starting today. Because today we're going to be buying trains and planning out services. Now we're going to stick with a very simple philosophy here. We're going to have one stopping train and one express train. And hopefully it will make sense as to why. Now I've got here train route planning, station stops, waypoints, things like that. So I'm going to add one other thing in here, which is rolling stock choice. So I'm using BR set, which is, ignore this stuff. This is the European train set stuff. But down here, this is BR set, which is an awesome set made by, again, is it Audigex? 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 I'm sorry, I always get the names wrong. But, oh, these are diesels. I was about to say there's something wrong here, but no, these are diesels. You'll see that we are quite actually limited in what we've got available here. One of the reasons for that is vehicles never expire. If I turn that off, I probably did it a little too late in the day for it to have an effect here. But we've got things like I mean, these are all new trains. Don't quite fit with what I was planning on doing, but it's fine. It works. I just need one that has a top speed of less than 75 miles an hour for the sake of argument here. Let me just roll the clock back a little bit to like 1980. Actually, let's do the year I was born. Why not? There we go, 1993. Reopen that window. Hopefully now we have some new trains to choose from. We actually don't, which is a little concerning. Maybe I've done something wrong here. Bear with. Let's change it again. Let's do like 1975. I love how the towns change as well to match. That's pretty cool. I was hoping, just unpause, treat it like Planet Zoo. I was hoping we'd have access to more variety of rolling stock, but I guess we don't, which is actually kind of annoying. So in that case, I'm just going to do a quick change here at my passing loops. So I'm going to change you to 100. I'm going to change you to 100. And I'm also going to change you to 100. There we go. They're still going to run at 75 miles per hour everywhere else, but for the but for the sake of how this is going to function, I just want to make sure that trains are slowing down to the right speeds. Otherwise, it wouldn't affect them, which would be kind of annoying. Let's go in here then. Again, these are all things I'm going to have to check before I start doing tutorial series, because you'd think that would make more sense. We're going to have some 196s then operating our... actually, is there a 3-car version? Yeah, that's a 3-car version. Actually, you're a 4-car version. No, let's stick to the 2. Let's stick to the 2. Keep it nice and simple. And then for this one, if I increase the size of this window, we want a 6-car HST. That's going to form our express service. And this one here, if you go here, passengers, you can change the livery. So that's a BR blue and grey, apparently. I don't know if I agree with that. These are the only HSTs. Yeah. How strange. Oh well. We could just go with blue Pullman again with the yellow warning panels, or we could just go with modern blue Pullman and old-fashioned blue Pullman that had no warning panels, just like they intended. Right, so this is how I plan out trains. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be the way you guys do it, but if you want to see how I do it, this is how I do it. So first of all, make it so that there is a setting that does this. It comes under, I think it's orders. Quick creation of vehicle orders on. So every time you open the orders window, which I can't do right now because that's in the way, go to is already selected. If you want to know how to do it outside of that, hit the G key. And that, sorry, that's the wrong thing. Again, a bit frazzled here now. Click the depot. Then click here twice. Click the bottom order and select the station here twice. Click the bottom of those two orders. Select Sledwood twice. Click the bottom of Sledwood there and select Cadtown twice. And then click the bottom Cadtown and select Guardston once. That's all you have to do. Then go back to Rentwood here, hit unload, and it will automatically say unload and leave empty. Again, that might be something you have to configure in your settings, but for the most part, this is how you do it. Then select the depot and hit service. So every time it goes into the depot, it will service the train. Then go to Cadtown TMD, do no unloading, no loading. And the same at this end. What that basically means is it will use it for waiting times and things like that, but it won't accidentally drop off or pick up passengers from here. Not that it accepts any anyway, but it's just to make sure. Now this right here for the timetable is currently flagged as a warning. We'll come to timetabling next time. We're not going to worry about that today. Now we could do the same thing with the HST, but I'm actually going to take a little bit of a shortcut. So right now again, go to is highlighted here. Now if I was just to click on this train here, we copy the orders over. If I was to control click, we would share the orders. So right now we don't want to share, we just want to copy. Now I'm going to remove Sledwood and Cadtown from that. And you do that by highlighting it and you click delete. Instead, we're going to go via Cadtown waypoint. And we're going to do the same thing again here. Just like that. Whoops. Did not mean to click that. There we go. So now we've got two orders set up. Excuse me, got hiccups. We've got two orders set up. Both start at the depot. Both go to the TMD here. Both go down to Rentwood. Except one from here then stops at Sledwood on the way to Cadtown. One goes straight through Sledwood, straight through the passing loop here, straight through Cadtown via the waypoint. Waypoints are useful still. Signaling to an extent has removed some of the usefulness of waypoints, but you might still need a waypoint in order for a signal to work properly. Say, for example, you had a fast line and a slow line coming out of Rentwood. Let me just get rid of the order lines. Say you had a fast line and a slow line coming out of Rentwood. You could do it through speed limits as to which train stops where, or you could do it as waypoints. So if you had two pairs of tracks, one might be called Rentwood Slow, one might be called Rentwood Fast, the two waypoints on those tracks that is. You might say, if next order is Rentwood Fast, then let the train into that platform. That's where waypoints are useful for me. They can also be useful for if you've got stations several miles apart, or you've got stations where trains don't necessarily stop, but you need them for wayfinding. You can just use a waypoint between the station and that junction, and again, it helps with the signaling. So this is all set up now. These trains are technically ready to go. Now, timetabling, again, is something that I'm probably going to do, but no, I am going to do it, sorry, in the next episode. Keep it separate because there are some things that are more complicated, less complicated when it comes to timetabling. Things like that. One other thing I will say for the shared orders, if I was to click this, let's say I just bought another random train, this one here. If I hold control, click on the train there, now this object here is available. And if I click here, you can see all vehicles that share these orders. If I was to now change something on this window, it would also affect the orders on this DMU at the top, but not the HST, because the HST copied the orders, it didn't share them. The way to fix that, of course, would be to reshare the orders or recopy the orders, but we don't need to worry about that right now. It's absolutely fine. I can now remove this train here. There are other things to bear in mind. So if I was to buy one again, oh, that's something else. If you delete a vehicle and immediately rebuy one, you'll see here that it's actually got the exact same orders, including sharing. If you don't want it to share, see here where it says end of shared orders, you can click on that, you can click stop sharing. Another trick, if you wanted to clear a vehicle's order list, instead of just clicking on the top one and keep hitting delete, if you click end of orders and click delete, it clears the whole thing for you. Now there are some things where, again, control is your friend. If you hold control now and click that, it automatically sets it to full load any cargo. Now I believe shift, no, that's not, is it alt? Maybe it's not alt either. I'm sure there's other shortcuts as well. You can see there are things that I don't tend to use that often. So I tend not to worry about them too much. G is a good one. Shift does estimated costs. I've just learnt that. There are other ones, and I can't remember what they are. Skip here is a good one as well. So say, for example, you've got several orders. You want to skip to number 5. You can hit skip 4 times or 5 times, whatever it might be. Or if you hold control and hit skip, it will jump to that order. That could be useful as well. I wish that was something I knew back in the day. That would have saved me a lot of time, believe me. Other things then that you can do. Let's say we select this station here. If you have wagons that are compatible, you can auto refit at stations. So more often than not, you'll have to run your train into a depot to do this, but sometimes you can do this on the fly. Something that I do on the M4J network. Hopefully that will remain the case with BR sets. If not, I have a backup plan in place anyway. But let's say we got some of these. Also something here. You can drag these up individually, or if you hold control, it drags everything up on that line. So now you can see refit at station is enabled. If I was to click this arrow here, you can refit to a fixed cargo, which might be whatever the train can carry, or you could do what I used to do, which is the lazy way, refit to available cargo. So if there's like 20 tons of coal and 40 tons of iron ore, instead of switching to iron ore or coal, you can just tell the train to pick up whatever is there, basically. Here as well with unload, you've got unload if accepted, unload all, transfer, no unloading, and unload by cargo type. So if you're carrying 2 different cargo types, you can unload just one of them. If you've got cargo distribution, forgot the name of it then, which again, if you go to settings and if you go cargo distribution or cargo, what am I doing? Cargo distribution, you can see that it is on, I hope. Looks like it's on. I think it's on by default these days. Yeah, there it is. It's on. So there's different options here, different settings. I tend to leave things for passengers. Symmetrical is pretty good. Asymmetrical can also work. The way I imagine it with passengers is if I go into London for whatever reason, chances are I will be returning home at the end of the day. So that's what it means by symmetrical. Asymmetrical could work for mail. So if there's town A sends more mail than town B, that works. It does also work with other industries as well. For this one, I'm just going to set that to symmetric and that one to asymmetric. Doesn't matter too much because we're not worrying about it too much, but it's nice to have the option. And then there's loads of distribution modes here that you can work with. The reason this is important is unload by cargo type, transfer, things like that. They tend not to matter too much when you've got cargo distribution enabled because the train will only pick up items that are going to the train's destination anyway. Same with full load. I tend not to use full load with the system that I use. I tend to let the train wait long enough that it ends up leaving full anyway. But again, it's personal choice. The last thing is non-stop. So you've got different orders here. You've got go to, go non-stop to, go via, and go non-stop via. Now waypoints, as you'll have seen here, are go via by default. You can do go to, and briefly on the Joker's patch, and maybe even on the JGR patch, there was a little bug where trains would go to a waypoint and they would stop, and it would treat it like a station stop. That seems to have been fixed now. That doesn't seem to be an issue anymore from what I've seen, which is a lot better for me personally. But again, some people did actually use waypoints as sidings. So again, it's personal preference, things like that. There are keyboard shortcuts that I can't remember off the top of my head that change between non-stop and just go to somewhere and go non-stop to somewhere. By default, I have it set to go non-stop just because it's easier. If you had a train running between Rentwood and, just close that for a second, between Rentwood and Guardston, and it wasn't set to go non-stop too, it would stop at Sledwood as well, and it would come up with a temporary. It's kind of it's like this, but it's grayed out. You can delete it. That's, it's not like you're stuck with the train stopping there or anything, but it's just easier to not have to worry about that. So by default, non-stop to non-stop via. Even if the stations are next to each other like this, the next one in the order list is Sledwood. It just means if there is a fast train coming through at any point, it won't accidentally stop at a station that you don't want it to stop at. One final thing then, this one here, if you drag an individual vehicle, you can delete it there. This one, if you drag the entire train, you can remove that. This one, which I'm not going to click, sells all trains in depot that aren't set to run. So if I was to click this train here, it would start it running. And at that point, even with the game paused, if you to sell all trains in the depot, it doesn't sell ones that have, if I show you here, it doesn't sell ones that have green here. There's a good way of filtering it sometimes. If you want to sell all but one train in a depot, pause the game, click that to turn it green, then hit this one here. And I can show you what it would do here. It probably comes up saying no trains in depot, but effectively that's how you do it. Alrighty, I think that's it for train route planning and things like that. There are way more advanced techniques for doing this. And this is the bare essentials for what I do on the M4J network. There are very, very complex things that I'm working on right now with people who actually work in the rail industry helping me. And by helping me, I mean basically doing it all for me whilst I frantically tread water behind them trying to keep up. There's all sorts of things to do with running times, how long it takes a train to run from one point to another, certain waypoints along the line, not necessarily waypoints like this, but say this junction here, how long it takes to get to this signal, and then from this signal, how long it takes to get to this signal, and then from this signal, how long it takes to get to that signal, and so on and so on. Just like real railway practices. Once I've got my head around them a little bit more, I may come back and do a future tutorial. Chances are I'll be recruiting their help for that as well, just to make sure that I'm explaining things properly. There's also lots of other things to do with, wait times at stations and things, most of which I will cover next time. But this is the basics when it comes to setting up trains and then just hitting the go button and watch them run. There's a whole button here that I haven't clicked yet. And this is the subject of the next episode, which is timetabling. And then there's another episode that's going to come after that, which is if I hit this button here. And this is a whole other thing. And there might be people who play OpenTTD that don't even know that this exists. And that is what these videos are for. So if you want to make sure you don't miss those episodes when they come out, why not subscribe to the M4J Gaming channel right now? And while you're down there, why don't you hit the like button as well if you found this tutorial helpful and if you're enjoying the series so far. Speaking of the series so far, you can find the link to the full playlist down in the description. Be sure to check that out. If you've got any ideas for tutorials that I may have missed, or if you've got any questions about the tutorials that I've done so far, you can drop a comment in the comment section below, or you can head to my Discord. Link is also in the description below, and you can get your question answered almost immediately on Discord, either by myself or one of the other lovely people on there who are far more knowledgeable about these sorts of things than I am. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Like I said, I hope you found this tutorial helpful. There are some things that I've probably missed. There's things that I've deliberately chosen not to include just for simplicity's sake. But if you do want more advanced tutorials, you know how to get them. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day. And until next time, I will see you soon.